Oh my god! Please tell me it's over!
Yup, that's me. Now you're probably wondering how I got into this situation. Well, let me show you. Let me show you the story of how I beat my first ever randomized hardcore Nuzlocke. Now, I can hear you saying, but Incinerate, randomized hardcore Nuzlockes are so overdone, no one even thinks they're challenging anymore. Also, who the f*** are you? And I say to you, good points, actually. Firstly, hi, hello, my name is Incinerate, you should go follow me on Twitch, I do cool stuff there sometimes. And secondly, I'm not here to wow you with incredible tactics or Squeaks level humor.
Bazinga.
I'm here to show you how I did it and tell my story. And it all started in a little place called November Town. Run 12! And there I was, back in November Town for the 12th time. With my spirits at an all-time low and the future of this Nuzlocke looking bleak, I held out hope that maybe, just maybe, one of these starters would take me further than ever before. And my prayers were answered, because not only was I given a good starter, I was given a legendary. And with Groudon in hand, I made short work of both Bianca's and Sharon's starters, even if one of them was also legendary. It felt like nothing could stop me. And in a classic Incinerate blunder, I was spamming B through the talk with Professor Juniper in her lab and ended up not giving Groudon a nickname, though I fixed this later. Then upon entering Route 1 alongside my rivals, the professor gave me some balls and the run had officially started. My first encounter was a Cottony, which I named Bimsy Jr. in honor of the original Bimsy from Run 11 that had died the very same day. When I then got to Accumula Town, the professor taught me how to use a Poké Center for the 12th time. I watched a speech about Pokemon liberals or something, and beat up this guy with only a single letter for a name. Moving swiftly along to Route 2, my mom gave me the running shoes and I got my next encounter. A Nidoran male I named Nidoman, for obvious reasons. Upon reaching the end of Route 2, and moving in real life, Bianca challenged me to a fight, leading with her freshly caught Shroomish. Now when fighting said Shroomish, I made a series of questionable decisions that led to Nidoman dying to a crit in his first proper fight. After Bimsy Jr. cleaned up the Shroomish with like 12 absorbs, I had to Leech Seed stall the remaining Registeel as I had fully forgotten to heal and my Groudon had no PP. Upon finally entering Striaton City, the first order of business was to give Nidoman a proper burial and head to the Dream Yard for my next encounter. Said encounter was a Marill, which I named Manrill, for less obvious reasons. But before I could challenge the gym, I went to the trainer school and beat the ever-loving shit out of Sharon over some berries. Then at last it was time. The first gym. The first of 8, and the last time I would ever have to fight these multicolored schmucks. But first, the gym trainers. The first one gave me no trouble and Manrill was able to defeat the trainer on his own. The second one, however, was another story.
No legendaries? Can I ask for that?
As it turns out, I could not. For imagine my surprise when none other than the first legendary bird Articuno stood before me, with super effective stab coverage against most of my team. Things were not looking good. But through my unending perseverance and a valiant sacrifice on the part of Manrill, this beast was finally felled.
We're so f***ing back!
And then it was time. The first gym leader, Silent. Now, I wish I truly wish that I could sit here and tell you a harrowing tale about how Silent almost defeated me, but I resisted his efforts with the power of friendship or whatever. But the reality of the situation is that this guy was a total pushover. Groudon swept his entire team while barely taking any damage. And I got my first gym badge. Then some story stuff happened in the Dream Yard, like we watched the Munna get punched, crashed the game like twice, and murdered some plasma grunts. On the way to the next gym of Nacreen City, I beat up Sharon again, caught an Obama gnome named Obamba, murdered some more plasma grunts, caught a Macargo named Fastcar, and picked up the TM for Thunderbolt. But this wasn't just the TM for Thunderbolt. This was TM13, which is normally Ice Beam, meaning Obamba the Obama Snow could now have some of the best offensive coverage in the game.
That's my president right there.
Upon entering Nacreen City, Sharon gave me some more berries and I was off to catch another Pokemon. In Pinwheel Forest, I caught a Mantine named Woman-Teen, and I went to challenge the gym. But first, that guy with only one letter for a name wanted to challenge me again, though he was no challenge for the mighty Obamba, who swept his entire team while taking literally no damage. And when I finally got to the gym trainers and the puzzle they were guarding, Obamba once again showed how he would etch his name in the pages of history as he nearly single-handedly took on every trainer before the gym leader. Then at last it was time. Once more a gym leader, once more Lenora. Leading with my Obamba versus her Thundurus, some unlucky confusion turns almost sent Obamba to an early grave. But by switching to Fastcar and slamming the Thundurus with a super effective rock throw, the chip damage from Hail was enough to take it down. But it was not over yet. Her final Pokemon was a Gyarados. But using my encyclopedic knowledge of all things Pokemon, I knew that it wouldn't have any Water-type moves at this level, so I left Fastcar in and went for a rock throw, which didn't work as Fastcar was confused from earlier in the fight. So once more I resorted to using my trusty Groudon, critting twice in a row with Cut and finally finishing off the Gyarados, winning me my second gym badge. Then some more story stuff happened where Team Plasma fully stole a museum artifact which me and Burke had to chase down through Pinwheel Forest. The only thing of note that happened in this chase was that I had to face up with both a Ho-Oh and a Kyogre, but neither of them stood any chance against the might of Obamba and Co. Upon retrieving the Dragon Skull from this random-ass plasma grunt, I gave it back to Lenora and went off to cross Sky Arrow Bridge. When I reached Castelia City, there was even more story, and I'll be real, I don't really know what it is, but I do know that there were some fights, and I'm real good at those. Next would be Burg at the third gym, but before that I ran up to Route 4 to catch a Vanillux named Ice Cream. After healing up at the Poké Center, I set my sights on my next badge. The first gym trainer scared me just a smidge by means of a muck with Minimize, but luckily Groudon was able to beat the odds and finish it off. Then came a Pidgeot which was also easily handled. But during this trainer fight, I learned that the Name Raider was in fact in Castelia City, the very city I was currently fighting the gym off. So I took a brief intermission to go and give Groudon a proper name. Courtesy of Conscious Under from chat, I baptized the Krusty. Welcome to the team. Then it was back to beat up some more trainers. The only major occurrence during this gauntlet was that a Marshtomp tricked me into attacking it after it used Bide, forcing me to make a sacrifice. So after a quick trip to the Poké Center to heal up and bury Ice Cream, Berg was going down. Taking after his disciples, Berg also had a Pokemon with Minimize, but naught shall stand in the way of Obamba, who took on the entire fight all by his lonesome. Securing badge number 3. On my way to the next gym in Nimbasa City, I encountered, fought, and humiliated both Bianca and Sharon. And picked up the wide lens. While going for a quick detour into the desert resort, I caught a Zora named Windy. Upon finally entering Nimbasa City, the professor gave me some balls and I manslaughtered some plasma grunts. For my efforts, I was rewarded with a bike. When entering the Nimbasa Carnival, that one letter guy name wanted to go on a date with me, I think. And then we fought, which I won easily. Finally getting to the Nimbasa City gym, none of the trainers even fazed me. And it was time for the fourth gym leader, Elisa. Now, once again, this gym leader was a huge pushover who literally only had first stage Pokemon, and I won by spamming the same move. And we're already halfway through the badges. After beating the gym comes my absolute favorite part of this game, which is just a bunch of text. When entering Route 5 on my way to Driftvale, Sharon wanted to fight again. And this guy never learns, because once again, I absolutely humiliated him, even though he had a mythical Pokemon. Alder also showed up to say some stuff, and then he led us to a double battle with two children, where Wimdy unfortunately passed away from a critical hit. After burying Wimdy and buying balls at the Poké Center, I went back to Route 5 to catch a Pokemon. Said Pokemon was a Tangrowth who managed to trap and kill Womanteen. So naturally I named him Killer. Elisa then let down the drawbridge and I ran onto it. Knowing that Pokemon can spawn in the shadows on the bridge, I ran back and forth for a while and finally got an encounter. A Feraligatr I named Croc. And finally, Driftvale. Clay then forced us to do his bidding before we could challenge the gym, taking on some plasma people in the cold storage. When I got to the cold storage, Sharon said like 3 lines of dialogue, and quote-unquote helped me defeat the plasma grunts. These grunts obviously stood no chance against my might and incredible strategic brain. When reaching the inner sanctum of the cold storage, there were even more plasma grunts for me to fight. Again, nothing interesting happened. Then Clay swooped in and arrested the grunts and their leader. Now being able to challenge the gym, I decided to go west and get another encounter on Route 6 first. And boy was it an encounter. Virizion, a sword of justice, now stood before me. Using nearly every Pokemon on my team, I tamed the beast.
Let's fucking go!
Toothless is now on the team. With this legendary in hand, Clay stood no chance. Again, the gym trainers really didn't pose any threat to my team, which was now 1/3 legendaries. So after breezing through all the fellas in the gym, Clay was going down. His first Pokemon was a Swalot, who tanked a frankly ludicrous amount of hits from Krusty before falling. Then a Yanmega who fell to a single lava plume. And finally his Miltank was ended by Fast Car after putting it to sleep. Badge number 5 is in the bag. When heading to Route 6 to find Clay and the TM for beating him, Bianca also wanted the smoke, which she was not ready for, as Toothless swept her entire team single-handedly. Running through Route 6 was quite easy, and I finally reached Chargedome Cave. Oh, what a fool I was! On one hand, Clay gave me the TM for Recover, which a lot of my team could learn. On the other hand, I was in for a world of hurt. Dave, the Rampardos, was the encounter for Chargedome Cave, and I would be seeing many more encounters in this cave. In my hubris, I had not bought repels, a mistake that would haunt me for the next hour. Hey gang, Editing Itinerary here. Now, I don't feel like this little compilation here does my suffering justice, so I'm here to add some context. All of these encounters were within 60 minutes of each other, and in those same 60 minutes, I fought nearly an equal amount of trainers. Now I could have included those, but be grateful that I didn't. Otherwise this montage would be damn near twice as long. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, but this f***ing end guy won't leave me the f*** alone! So after beating up all his Pokemon, I finally escaped the Cave of Encounters.
We're free! We're finally free!
After escaping, I talked to a man who I think is the professor's father, though I am very much unsure of that. Moving through Route 7, I killed a Simisage I would have caught, fought some trainers, picked up some items, and made my way to Celestial Tower. Oh, and also Croc died to a quick Brave Bird from a holo. F's in chat. Running up the winding stairs of Celestial Tower, I fought a lot of trainers, and caught a Wailord named Your Mom. When I finally reached the top of this godforsaken tower, all I got was to ring this admittedly cool bell, and introduce myself to the next gym leader, Skyla. Walking down the winding stairs of this godforsaken tower, 911 was killed by a rogue crit from a Sharam using Petal Dance. Flying back to Mistralton City, I had finally unlocked the gym, which I intended to be post-haste. Using this gym's creative method for transportation, I flew back and forth beating up various workers along the way. Again, nothing interesting happened. After a quick rest at the Poké Center, I was ready to take on gym leader number 6, Skyla. Once again, Obamba showed the world how it's done, and swept the gym without taking a single point of damage. Upon victoriously exiting the gym, I was ambushed by that guy again. L or something? He didn't want anything, so I just let him talk and he walked away. Moving north towards the next gym, I was once again ambushed, but this time by my quote-unquote friend Sharon, who wanted to battle. This time, Obamba only took out one Pokemon before Sharon grew some balls and sent out a f***ing legendary. Though this wasn't that big of a deal, as Obamba put it to sleep while nearly dying to a crit, and Krusty hit the funny Earthquake button twice to kill it. Finally, Krusty used Lava Plume a couple times to finish the fight. Then the f***ing champion showed up, gave me Surf, and walked away. Anyway, in Twist Mountain, I found and caught a Trapinch named Mega, in honor of its Mega evolution. Getting through Twist Mountain posed no real challenge aside from the fact that my game crashed. But feeling smarter than before, I went back to get some repels, because I'm not raw dogging a cave ever again. Now actually getting through Twist Mountain was a breeze. I met some Plasma Grunts there, but they actually did nothing. And I was in Icarus City, where I surfed in a puddle and found a Snivy, which I caught and named Noodle. Taking a quick trip to Dragon Spiral Tower, I caught the hit Danish band Volbeat and named him Lola, as in Montez. Continuing the stroll before the gym leader, I went to the Moor of Icarus and found a Life Orb, just like, on the ground. And also caught a Grimer named Come. C-O-M-E. Come. After getting Come, I had finally built up the courage to take on the 7th gym. Using my strategic mastermind and cracked-ass team, the gym trainer stood little chance. Unironically, the hardest part of this gym was the puzzle. I'm just thinking embarrassingly hard about this. Now for my favorite part, beating up theater kids. Leading with Toothless, they were able to take out the first two Pokemon with ease, before facing down a Haxorus, and I know only one man for that job. However, tragedy struck. Unflinching in the face of an overwhelmingly powerful foe, Obamba took one for the team. Krusty, now with vengeance in his heart, slew this dragon in the name of the mighty Obamba, and Bryson was defeated. With only one badge remaining, I moved on. At Dragon Spiral Tower, Team Plasma had set up shop to probably steal another important artifact or something. Unfortunately for them, fighting was just what I wanted. In a bloody frenzy, I beat up every Plasma Grunt in sight, before seeing N take off on a presumably stolen Zekrom. Now going on the backtrack of the century, because no one could learn fly, I walked to Driftvale because I remember not getting an encounter there. Praying to get something, anything, to fill the Obamba-shaped hole in my heart. And boy was I filled. By a Mewtwo named Yes Dude. With Yes Dude in my party, I continued my walk all the way back to the desert resort to deal with Team Plasma again. And I'll spare you the details, I beat them. When I finally reached my destination of Nacrene City, I was given some sort of stone and had to walk all the way back to get to Opelucid City. But before I could get there, I had to cross Two Blind Bridge. But before that could happen, Bianca wanted to fight. Again, she stood no chance. And when I finally got to cross the bridge, some members of the Shadow Wizard Money Gang ambushed me and walked a grand total of 5 meters so I could listen to another evil monologue. Just past the bridge on Route 9, I caught a Blastoise named Short King. In Opelucid City, there was yet another evil monologue I had to listen to, and also visit Drayden's house for some reason. I'm actually not sure. Anyway, I caught a Fungus on Route 10 and named her Sassy Jack. Now this next part might look a little funky, and that's because it was streamed on April 1st. I know that's a long time ago. Don't tell me about it. Frankly, I'm embarrassed that this video has taken so long. Anyway, 8th gym time. Now, when I tell you that I lost a Pokemon to the gym trainers, I want you to know that it might have been due to me forgetting an item someone was holding. Allegedly.
No. I forgot about the life orb damage. Are you fucking kidding me?
Rip in peace, Short King. Your life, just as your stature, was too short. All the other trainers were dealt with swiftly. And finally, the last gym. Drayden's first Pokemon was a Gliscor that nearly killed your mom and took several chip-aways from Dave before falling to sleep from a clutch effect spore by Sassy Jack. After which a couple Giga Drains finished the job. His next Pokemon, a Gigalith, managed to set up Rocks and Sandstorm before falling to 2 Giga Drains. Celio was next, which set up Hail before being toxic by Sassy Jack. However, this seal had rest. But that didn't matter, as 2 Giga Drains ended the life of this quote-unquote fish. And the last gym badge was mine. Now Professor Juniper wanted to chat about something. I couldn't tell you what though, I can't read reverse text. But she did give me a Master Ball, which was nice. Traveling up to Route 10, I once again met with Sharon, who wanted to tussle, which was really unfortunate for him, because my team is really busted. Some confusion early on annoyed me a bit, but the true danger in this fight didn't show itself until a Swoobat used Future Sight, pretty much guaranteeing a kill on one of my Pokemon. However, before the future sight could even land, your mom was killed by life orb damage after tanking a hit on low HP.
Motherfucker!
Luckily, the future sight was never allowed to land because Dave finished the fight before it could. Now the only thing standing between me and the Elite Four was Victory Road, which was really easy and no one died. When I finally arrived at the Elite Four, I decided to take some time to make my final team as powerful as it could be. The first order of business was to catch any remaining encounter I had not gotten yet. In Striaton City, I found a gold duck named Quack, but I misspelled it. And as my last encounter in the Lostlorn Forest, I found a Quagsire named No Dudette, and I'm gonna show you the reason why. Why no girl?
The joke is lost on me. I don't get it. Oh, opposite of yes, dude. What's the girl version of dude? Dudette. Yeah, I'm gonna do dudette because it's funny.
Now, with every encounter gotten and all the preparations made, the team was the strongest it's ever been. Yes Dude the Mewtwo, Sussy Jack the Amoonguss, Mega the Flygon, Krusty the Groudon, Noodle the Superior, and No Dudette the Quagsire. Now, onto the final frontier. The Elite Four stood before me. Chantal was first on the chopping block. Her first Pokemon, Emboar, fell to a single Luster Purge from Yes Dude. Sawsbuck was then chunked by U-turn and ended by a lava plume from Krusty. But not before managing to get a burn off on him from a tri-attack. Her Woobat used Future Sight without me seeing it, and then died to a crunch from Mega. Her last Pokemon, Corsola, managed to tank a Bulldoze to stall the Future Sight attack, which Mega ate for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Then a final Bulldoze won the fight against Chantal. Next up was Grimsleaf. Starting off this battle strong with a big C-Dot, it died to a U-turn from Yes Dude. His next Pokemon was a Manaphy who started setting up Acid Armor. But I was prepared for this. Setting up a damage over time effect via Leech Seed, I then started fishing for crits with Leaf Blade. At least, that's what I wanted to do, but Noodle decided to be a jerk and hit himself in confusion a couple times. So I settled on setting up with Coil as being my smartest course of action. After getting to +6, Noodle swept the floor with the rest of Grimsley's team. His Ledian died to Strength, and his last Pokemon, Psyduck, died to a Leaf Blade. Halfway through the Elite Four, Caitlyn was my next target. Again starting off strong, she led with a Love Disc that died to one hit from Yes Dude. Next up, her Kangaskhan was hit down to just above half from a Luster Purge and got her special defense lowered, meaning the next one would kill. Now the King's Rock on Yes Dude came in clutch as the Kangaskhan flinched and couldn't move, but she did manage to scare me with a Sucker Punch before going down. Her Azumarill was then hit down to 1 HP and paralyzed by Thunderbolt. Caitlyn used 2 full restores, but that didn't matter as Yes Dude just kept using Thunderbolt until it fell. Almost poetically, her final Pokemon was a Mew, the first and lesser version of the Pokemon that had just swept her whole team. But Yes Dude didn't stick around. U-turning into Mega while Mew used Barrier, a Crunch then barely did any damage as she used Metronome, getting Dizzy Punch and confusing Mega. Using Crunch again, Mew was brought down low and fired off a Psychic which almost ended Mega. I then switched into Krusty to finish the fight with a Lava Plume. One left, Marshall. Leading with a Seismitoad, Yes Dude used U-turn and switched into Noodle as he set up the rain. Noodle tanked an Acid and ended the Seismitoad with a Leaf Blade. Next up was a Snorunt which I switched in Krusty for, and it set up the hail. A Lava Plume from Krusty brought it down low and burned it. Krusty then had to tank a blizzard that couldn't miss. Then I predicted the next turn perfectly.
He's gonna full restore, and Hammer Arm is gonna kill. That's what I said, isn't it?
His penultimate Pokemon was a Dragonair, which used Aqua Tail into Mega and fell to a Dragon Claw. Last was a Piloswine who threatened almost my whole team with its Ice type, so I switched to No Dudette, and it did use an Ice type move, but it was only missed. Trading Surfs for Earthquakes, No Dudette ended the final Elite Four fight. Now expecting the champion fight, I walked into some sort of castle and met N once more.
Did he do that?
My final mission. Kill that guy with only a single letter for a name. Making my way through Team Plasma's castle, I found a creepy child's room and swiftly moved on. Finding Getsis before what I had guessed to be the final room, he gave me some crucial exposition about stones, heroes, and legendary Pokemon. I stepped into the final room of the Nuzlocke and challenged N for the final time. But we wouldn't battle just yet. First I had to catch a Reshiram, quote-unquote. By some miracle, the Reshiram was randomized into a Kyurem, which I swiftly Master Ball and named Ice Spice. I decided not to add it to my team though. At last, N. His first Pokemon was a Carnivine, which I U-turned into Sussy Jack for while it used Ring Out, bringing her low. I decided that leaving Sussy Jack in would be the best because she would faint to anything later on. But fate had other plans. The bright powder I gave to her allowed her to evade the crunch that would have ended her, and Clear Smog killed the Carnivine. Next was a Poochyena who used Embargo, and Sussy Jack used Giga Drain to heal and end the Poochyena. Then a Joltik was sent in and chunked for big damage from a crit Giga Drain. I then switched into Mega, who tanked a Buzz and killed it with Dragon Claw. Keeping up the streak of banger Pokemon, N sent in a Sunkern, who only set up the sun and fainted to a fly from Mega. A Drifloon was next. Being wary of Aftermath, I decided to risk it, and just use Crunch twice. Turns out it didn't have Aftermath, and I was just being overly cautious. His last Pokemon, a Smeargle. And I wanted to end it the way it started. Just me and Krusty. But they were all of them deceived, for it was not the end. Getsis, in a fit of rage, decided it would not be that easy. Luckily, his first Pokemon, a Combi, was quickly dispatched by a Thunderbolt. Next, his Tepig took big damage from a Luster Purge and ended himself with recoil from a Flare Blitz. For his Seadra, I U-turned into Noodle and used Leaf Blade a couple times to waste his full restores and end the Seadra. Next was his Ponyta, who managed to burn Krusty but quickly fell to an Earthquake. His Behemoth then hit Mega for massive damage with Psychic, Hoping to outspeed, I used Crunch, which didn't do enough, and Mega was felled. After checking some stats, I sent in Nodudet to tank a Psychic and fire back with Earthquake. Which just missed the kill, and Nodudet fell as well. But knowing that Krusty was faster than Mega, who outsped the Behemoth, I used Lava Bloom to end the Behemoth. And his final Pokemon was an Electabuzz. Unsure if Krusty could one-shot after being burned, I switched to Sussy Jack to Toxicate, sealing its fate. After a couple Giga Drains to build up the Toxic, I switched back to Krusty to end it properly, the way it had started, with Krusty by my side. And at last, it was over.
Oh my god! Please tell me it's over! That's it, folks! Oh my fucking god! What a journey!
Hey gang, it's me again. I just wanted to take a moment here at the end to truly thank you all for watching this far into the video, and if you enjoyed it at any points, please do consider subscribing and hitting the like button. I have lots of more stuff planned for the future. I really want you here for it. Thank you again, and I'll see you next time.